Good morning! Welcome to Spirituality Gone Wild. I am Debbie G. How is it rolling out there this morning? Bright and early, we're just getting our sunshine groove on. Today's Cuppa Grata is going to be so much fun. Hey, any of you out there, ladies, ever have a guy that you're just having a problem, just completely separating yourself from? Have you had a bad breakup? Have you had a breakup? I had a 13-year breakup 5 years ago, and I think that I'm going to need this guest new book. That's what I'm thinking. I also cannot wait to talk about her mystery school. This is going to be so much fun. I'm getting truth chills as I talk, just even in the idea that she's going to be present with us on this broadcast studio in a moment. Jumana Sophia, this extraordinary lady, I am going to bring her on. You are watching a Cuppa Grata with a shot of expression, 2 squirts of reality, and my co-squirt is Jumana Sophia. I'm going to bring her up, and we're going to start chatting away. Welcome, Jumana.
Good morning, Debbie and everyone. Good morning.
Good morning. So, welcome to Spirituality Gone Wild and a Cuppa Grata. Before that we go, you do so many cool things. It's hard for me to decide where do we even start with you. I mean, you've had an extraordinary journey. You're coming to us live from Ashland, Oregon. So for one thing, before we even step into the journeys, how are you doing with all the fires and the smoke and everything going on up there?
I'm doing okay, and I was safe, and it's more, taking the journey with my community. I lived at Harbin Hot Springs for a long time before I lived at Ashland. And
really?
I did. And I was there when it burned. I wasn't living there, but I was there on retreat.
Oh.
And so, fire is an initiation like no other, especially when it takes something so precious to you. So there's a way that, I recognize this journey a little bit, from having really watched something very holy to me, like a deep home to me, be taken by fire. So, I think that's very much what our community's in right now, the transformation of that. And it's, talk about finding gratitude, right? What I'm seeing in the community is it's like, and what I've, in many ways experienced in my own life, when everything else is annihilated, all you have left is what's real, And there's a lot of that. People just so aware of where the love is and so aware of our interconnection and what's really important. Yeah.
I'm appreciating that so very much. First, my heart is with you. Grief of any kind is so tough, but it's also, in my world, it's also those are the moments where the gratitude lies. Because grief, it takes us to that place when there's nothing and it's just us left. We realize what's important. Absolutely. I love that you've brought that perspective forward. Thank you, because that's beautiful. Yeah. Harbin Hot Springs. I actually was up north for a bit, Hidden Valley Lake.
Okay.
It's right. Okay. So Middletown and Hidden Valley Lake are right where Harbin is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had never been to Harbin. I went up to Harbin after the fires when they were rebuilding. And so I saw the reopening.
Okay.
So it's kind of, it's interesting to see the transformations. You're absolutely right. And life is about transformation. And this is what you help women do. And so let's kind of segue into this extremely, I can't wait to hear all about it. Her mystery school. I'm going to put the link up here in the chat. And and everybody who's popping on, please share this out. And if you're at the Goddess Fest, meet our beautiful presenter as well. You're an extraordinary gift to this planet. And ladies, you're going to need to check out this extraordinary school. But let's talk about a little bit about who you are. And then, you are Jumana. But I always hate that shit. Look, the fact is we are just who we are. Let's talk about what you do. Okay. What you've done. And that came out so funny. The way terminology's changed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We could, it's true, right? It feels like there's a very vast terrain there. Her mystery school, but you did ask about that. And that is kind of her mystery school is it's 9 months long, and I created it 5 years ago. And, you know, I say it was an experience of basically feeling like I've been on this path since I was 19. So I had a lot of awakenings then, and it's been a long journey of just understanding what was happening, you know, what I was waking up to. And about 5 years ago, I was like, I need to bring it all together. I need to understand what is the golden thread that has been weaving through all of everywhere that I've been and all that I've been drawn to. And so her mystery school came out of that. And I say it was almost like I had another secret circulatory system just gathering all this nectar. And all of a sudden it was time to open up a vein and let it come out and pour into a cup and share it. So it's really, I deeply love and am in service to the school. We go, yeah. Mm.
That is amazing. So tell me about the vision for the school and what brought you forward with it.
You know, it came from inside. You know, I like to say with the school, a lot of what we're working with is like, where is touching the hidden sacred and living from that place? What is the hidden sacred? And the school came from that for me. It was really, you know, it was birthed from that place inside of me. And the vision with it, I mean, it's an international school now. There's women in over 18 countries.
Wow.
And this year we grew. So we have about 217 women, I think, in the school. And we journey together for 9 months, and we move through, you know, each month is a different realm of deep feminine terrain. So it's practices, it's teachings, but we go from homecoming, you know, just real sovereignty into communion. You know, what is it to be in union, to paradise? We go into the descent, where we're talking about, you know, really looking at sacred context for the annihilations of life, returning sacred context to those. So, I mean, you know, over 9 months we go, you know, I wanted to, there's such a full capacity in woman. It is such a full range. And I wanted to really, it's why I called it her mystery school. I kept trying to come up with like the name. Oh, is it the school of the this or that, or of the 7 doves, or what is it? And every time I tried to name it, it's like, you can't name this. I don't know what to call it. So it's her and you. It's that one that we touch. That, yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Well, actually, I think just the word mystery itself is intriguing and a huge draw, because I find it, because I think that the great mystery is also spirit, as we know in the indigenous culture. And so this is the great mystery, though. Life is a great mystery. Yeah. And I love that you've put a place together that's a sacred space for women to be able to come together and journey together, as you were saying. That's an important process that I'm finding out in my own life, is how that we journey together. So yeah, it's just truly amazing. So, and they just come here. Do they go and just sign right up, or do you?
No, it runs every, you know, because I'm facilitating it, you know, a lot of the transmissions and the audios come out weekly, but then there's, you know, we're together every Thursday. So we start every September, and it goes for 9 months. So we just started our 5th cycle. And there are multiple mentors who work one-on-one with the women. So there's a team. Yeah. And I think that thing about, you know, talking about mystery, right? It's, I call it a deep feminine approach. And, you know, it's interesting because a lot of what came through for her mystery, from her mystery school, was my realization that, I mean, I've been in a lot of traditions. I've been pretty immersed for 25 years now. And what I realized was that the thing that I was following most closely through all of it was this question of, no, really, this womanhood, what is this? Like, I need to know. I'm a mother now. I'm a lover. Like, there's so much that happens in me. And, you know, I studied, you know, I lived with Sufis. I've studied a lot of Taoism, actually, is very much through the school. And I mean, I've been all over, and I've studied with the water, but it's what I needed and where I needed the support most was to really understand what was happening as a woman. You know, and there is no way to, part of what I wanted to bring forward with the school is that we don't ever get to like know what that is. It's a living journey all the time. It's like what woman is for each of us is emerging. it is a constant emergence, and the deep feminine nature is untamed. So there's a way of approaching what we are as women that is to approach a mystery rather than to try to come into a posture or a portrait or a decision, you know, of who we are or what's true. And that's where life is, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I have a granddaughter. So I was the oldest girl of four. I was the oldest of four girls, and then I had boys.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting that you bring this up because I was taught, I'm in my 50s, so I was taught that, you know, I watched the mom take care, you know, take care of the kids, bake bread. Uh, she did go out and become successful with real estate and things like that. But my dad, she served him dinner, made him dinner, handed him dinner, went through variations of that throughout the time. But what we're taught, I believe, as women, and what is true for us right now as women are just so different, so
Yeah.
completely different. I that movie Wonder Woman
Oh, you know,
is,
I didn't watch it yet.
oh my gosh.
I
Oh
never
my
watch
gosh.
movies. I never watch movies, but
Well,
I know I need to watch that one.
well, you know, Jumana, I'm not a huge movie person either, you know, and we just don't have that kind of time. But I was hanging out with this lady, Joan of Angels, and she's like telling me how I absolutely have to watch this. And so I'm like, all right, well, we'll do that. So I sat and watched it. It's extremely powerful. Now number two is coming out.
Okay.
But there is a message in this movie that I'm ready to sit down with my granddaughter. She's 7 and say, okay, let's watch Wonder Woman. It's an empowering movie for women. It's really about discovering who you are, the strength within you, and that it's within you the whole time.
Yeah.
So it sounds like her mystery school is for those out there that really are ready to uncover and unleash the woman that's within them, that's waiting to come out and be birthed. Because it can be so confusing being a
Oh,
female.
we
She
are.
is.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many tides that are kind of moving in the opposite direction, and even in a lot of, I think, empowerment movements, they can. It's easy for them to move into a rigidity or like a posture rather than
Yeah.
this really supple, like resilient, just connection to a deep knowing that shows up every moment with us. It's like, you know, we're companioned by something extremely ancient and powerful inside, and to have that and know that is, you know, it's salvation essentially for us. And it's also, it's what will keep calling us forward and keep us up at night. And it's that longing, it's that yearning. I feel like with her mystery school, I had at least one, I had one significant experience when I was younger. So I moved on to a Sufi community, and I mean, I was like 21. I was a baby and I was wide open. And you know, what ended up happening was that kind of classic situation of having a very powerful teacher that took me to many places, and, you know, and then was sleeping with his students. And, you know, it was the classic, like the classic thing of that I feel like many of us go through, which is needing to bring it all back home, and like really needing to know that what we're unfolding is ours always. So that's been a huge thread through her mystery school, is just always whatever the teaching is, whatever the practice is, the point is that it brings us back home to something that's true. And I think when you say how confusing it can be, I think that's a lot of what it is there's so much push and pull to just leave home, you know, to just not be here, not feel this, not be able to hear what's in, and that thing also, that what you said about how much more powerful it is when we do it together, to be joining with other women who are saying like, I'm fortifying you in the hidden sacred, in my hidden sacred that meets your hidden sacred, and we're going to do this together. It's deeply fortifying, and it's necessary in whatever ways we do that, to have that right now.
I I completely agree. I love it's something that you brought up though is even a little bit, and I would, if you're listening out there, you would have caught this. It triggers me when I hear it. So it's just some of the stuff, some of the work I'm still going through with my judgments about teachers and about these gurus, coaches, whatever you want to call it, creating these communities and then preying on the students. And they're usually young. They're, they're most of the time they're young. 21 is really young.
I was
I
young.
mean, geez, that's young. Yeah, but that's I know that you're not the only one out there that
Yeah.
has gone through this, and this is something that's so huge right now in the movement, in the entire movement of the world. I'm going to agree with you. Movements are a very rigid place to be. If this is all you're focused on and you're not open flowing, you mentioned that you use a lot of the teachings of the Tao, and that's some of my favorite work actually that Dr. Wayne Dyer put out. That's the first time I was introduced to the Tao, but I love it because it's such a soft practice. It's such a softening of our heart spaces. But to go back to this experience you had, talk to us a little bit about it. Let's not get into the we don't have to get into the harshness of it, but just so that we can give maybe somebody who's listening out there who may be experiencing this or have, how does that look when somebody is being preyed upon and they don't even realize it?
Yeah. I mean, the way I see it is in a way, especially because it's so broad, it happens so often that it's almost like it's an initiation on the seeker's journey, right? Like when I look at it for myself,
okay,
it's like not that it's, I don't support it, I don't want it for anyone, but I see it and I see how many times it plays out, and there's a reclamation that you have to make in an experience, when an experience like that happens, that is like no other, because well, in my experience, it's like I was so effaced in front of this teacher. I was so effaced in the surrender to what he was holding, right? And there's something true there, right? It's hard to, I think one of the deepest confusions that happens is we're experiencing something really true. It's not like the whole thing was a lie. It's not like, we didn't touch anything real, or they are not holding anything real. And then when all of a sudden they're so fully out of integrity, or they're predatory, or there's cognitive dissonance, it just kind of fractures our whole sense of what's true. And in the middle of that, we've touched something that's like some of the most true we've ever touched. So I mean, for me, and I was, whatever, I was 23 by the time I kind of fell away with that community, and 24, but so I was young, but it becomes this, now you're on a journey of discernment. Now you're on a journey of, that initial, like for me anyway, it was like an opening. It was a journey of opening. It was a journey of like cracking open, and then it was like, okay, come back together. And now you're going to be discerning. And this whole strange thing, in a way, that the message and the messenger are not always one and the same. These teachers, they're the messengers, right? And they don't always tend to their vessel. They're not always pure, and they're often not, but the message that's coming through them is so true. And for me, there's been as there's been more discerning and more specificity and more awareness of sensing into that differentiation, there's been more and more an understanding, and happens through lovers as well. For me, is an understanding of like, this is God meeting me in all these different ways. And okay, so that came through this teacher, and then the time was done. But that meeting, the actual meeting that I felt, that was true, and that stays with me. Same with lovers, I talk about it in the book, right? So many of us have experiences with a lover where we touch something holy, we touch something so gorgeous and profound. It's love, it's soul, it's all these things, and maybe they don't, or maybe they drop it, and it's just not.
Yep.
And there can be a similar experience of deep confusion and loss and kind of on a soul level. And so for me, I talk about lovers as chariots, and God moves through the lover, the beloved will ride chariots to meet us, and but that's not the point. And so there's somewhere in there is a deep reclamation of our very direct, very cherishing, and very felt relationship with the divine as women. Like we are able to be penetrated. We are able to be opened. This is so much of how we touch God or whatever spirit. We do it in the body. We do it in this way. And yeah. So that's how I've come to see it in a lot of ways.
You know, one of my favorite things about you so far
Mm-hmm.
is that from the minute that, I'm going to tell you, because from the minute we've gotten on, everything you say it always leads straight into you don't go into anywhere into some dramatic victim mode story. I love how you just shared this. It was beautiful. And not that there's anything wrong with y'all out there who are in victim mode, sorry, but because it's a place to be. But the fact that you find the gratitude moment, you find the gratefulness in the experience, because it's just oozing out of you when you talk about the discoveries, when you talk about the things that came forward because of this, and not one of them have been a negative. And that my favorite thing about you is your ability to perceive life on golden terms.
That's beautifully said. Yeah. I've had enough experiences that's the only way to survive it.
Yeah.
Even just 3 years ago, I'm still in recovery from a really serious collapse, and it's just a really serious experience that took me about 9 months to even come out of. And it's like when and I think there's something about like the only thing that it's gratitude, but it's also like there's only one way out when you're that annihilated, and it's through these little. There's just only one way out, and there's only one way forward, and it's you have to find life again. It's like, and I think when things are annihilating enough, there's a brutality there. Like it's true, it is annihilating. That is what it is, but. Then there is everything gets very purified, very rarefied. The path becomes very kind of narrow but clear in a way of like, okay, this is all that is actually true, or this is the only thing that's going to rise me back up. And and I think too, part of where that comes from for me is I really believe that as women especially, we initiate through these experiences. Like it's a very traditions have their initiations, right? Different traditions, and but there's something, because we're the life givers, the life bringers, there's an organic way that we just initiate through life. And these experiences, experiences with lovers, with, betrayals, with spiritual teachers, I do see us actually in using these experiences to initiate ourselves, and that when I have found, well, okay, what am I actually initiating into? Because initiations are brutal. They're hard. You often have to meet death, right? Like when we're talking about an actual initiation into power, what you meet is death on some level. You meet annihilation. And it's like, this is the real heroine's journey that many of us are on in different ways. And that's a lot, in her mystery school, when we go into the descent, this kind of repair, bringing sacred context again around the annihilations we experience, so that they do become the full, we travel the full initiation that's there. I think that's a lot of where, especially with what our world's going through, what many of us are going through, it's really crucial, right?
It is. And the power is within, like in your school, from what I can feel with this, is just to go through the initiation, though, held in sacred space is a lot of it, because we hack it alone. out there. A lot of us have. And so I'm just, there's something so deep with you that so resonant. I mean, I have to agree with one of our audience members. Carla's like, yes to it all, to all of it. Right? Yeah. Carla, and if you're watching right now or watching the replay, please just go check out her mystery school. Even though right now they're already in session, get signed up for the next upcoming session next September and start planning for it. Because it's, it's really important. And Jumana has a special gift for everybody. So stick around to the end and I'll let you know what that's going to be. This annihilation, I was in a 13-year relationship, Jumana. Now, okay, I was married when I was 19, had my first son a year and 10 days later, that kind of thing. He passed away 4 years ago. We were great co-parents. We didn't make it past 5 years of marriage. But later on, I met somebody and we were together for a long time. And that was 5 years ago that we broke up. But I find myself, okay, so I'm going to just be honest with everybody. So listen, he's almost 60. And then I hear that he tells me he's talking to me because we're still cordial, there's no reason not to be. Mm-hmm. And so he tells me that he's dating a very young person, very young girl. And I sat back and went, I had so much judgment. I didn't say anything, but I had all this judgment. Then I've noticed that afterwards, you guys, hope you all see that just being honest and real, it is not easy because this is so hard to say. But then I find myself, I started going back in my head of, well, thank God we split up 5 years ago because this, I never felt good enough is my point here. I never felt good enough in the damn relationship. I didn't feel good enough at all. And I went through the dark night of the soul, the annihilation that you're talking about, along with another situation that happened. So I'm loving this because I'm noticing a lot where I'll see my mind go into this space where he's like thinking about what he's doing and judging it again. And then going back into me trying to take it personally, which we all know, like, come on, guys, that's a perspective shift. So I'm curious about your new book because, listen, I don't have ill feelings about this person or anything else, actually. But I'm noticing there must be something still there and that I was triggered by that. So that's something within me. And I want everybody to hear that. This isn't anything he's doing. He can do whatever he wants. Yeah. But I wanted to share that because you have a book and I have a feeling I need this book.
I'm going to send it to you for sure. Yeah. Well, because, I think that, well, there are two things. I mean, there's a lot, there's a whole book, but there are residual impacts and you don't have to be in a place. Like, it's good to name some things, like maybe there was neglect, maybe there was dishonesty, who knows? You got to name some things to know what terrain you're moving in. But then it's all about, to claim the initiation is to really say, like, and now how am I stewarding my sexual nature in this case, right? How am I stewarding this here and tending to it? Because there's, even as you're talking, I feel like, and I've had this experience, there can be a dimming that happens in a relationship where it's almost like our essence gets a little rubbed off or our light gets dimmed. And it's, you don't have to break it apart too much psychologically. You could, but it's just, that's what happens, right? So at the end of the relationship, what we're left with is a dimming. What we're left with sometimes is a deficit, but it's an energetic reality. And I think that's where there's a gap, right? So I think that we've gotten really good at talking about it and really understanding the dynamics, and like there's such beautiful teachings and there's all the dating things. There's so much out there that really describes the terrain and helps us to understand, and there's liberation there. And then when we've been sexually intimate with someone, now we're in a whole other terrain though. We're in this terrain of like the body, the soul, energy, subtlety, the unspoken. So there's a whole different way to repair that impact. And I think a lot of times, you know, when we're looping around someone, or there's this ongoing just residual, it's because the impact on that level hasn't been addressed. And that's too where the initiation gets completed. You know, like I was in a relationship, I was married, and I was married for 7 years, and we loved each other. He struggled with addiction, and one of his big addictions was pornography. And there is a lot of work about to come out from me and a friend of mine about pornography and sexuality. But point is, that was when I made my course on Daily Om. That's ultimately what led to the book, because what happened for me was it was really devastating to me on so many levels. Like my sense of myself as a woman, my sense of my body, my sense of my sexuality, everything. And I watched how, because of that relationship, I had to actually claim my sexuality. Like before then, I was just kind of natural in it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because of the journey that I went on with him, and we are good friends, and he's amazing, and he's gone on to heal and whatever, but we took each other on an initiatory journey. But the only way I could get through it, the only way that I could find myself again, was by doing all of this work of actually claiming and stewarding my sexual energy, my body, my womb. Like and so on the other side of it, looking back on it, there was a way that what I was initiating myself into was actual embodiment, actual residency in my sexuality. And I can't leave it again. Like the cost was so high. And I think that's part of what happens is another way that we initiate is we go until the cost is so high that we won't do the thing anymore. We won't abandon ourselves anymore. We won't do the thing because the cost has been so high that we're kind of like, well, I'm going to die if I do that again. I mean, that's like where it gets to.
It is where it's at.
You're like, well,
yeah, I've been single for 5 years.
Yeah.
I've dated a couple of times, but you know, really I knew like, no. I'm in a space now where I'm so comfortable being right where I'm at and continuing to learn to love me at a deeper level.
Yeah.
And discovering that what I want in a partner, I'm defining that. Before it was just sort of blasé, you know, I kind of, you know, I was after the spark, that energy, that thing, you know, because it's a rush, let's face it. Yeah. But that's not okay. It's real at the time, and I love how that you do bring focus to that. It is real. Anything that we're experiencing, for anyone, for any of you, for me, for you, it's all real at the time. Our perspectives and how that we digest and how we process and how we come out the other end. But the thing I love about you is how that you've created a community for, I keep going to safety because that's what it feels like with you. Very safe. I want to actually bring this up really quick here. Lloyd Bard says, Jumana is fully alive and completely real. Super laxatives don't apply on this level of embodied authenticity. Praises at the feet of her mystery school.
Love you, Lloyd.
Lloyd, you're wrong.
I'm blushing, Lloyd. You made me blush.
Lloyd, thank you. I love this book. All right. Jumana, what is the name of your book? How do people find this book?
The name of the book is Break the Grip of Past Lovers. And it's on Amazon. And it really does, you know, one of the things that was coming up for me when you were speaking is that there's a lot of, I've encountered a lot this kind of belief in a way that, I mean, right, there is the feminine rising, right? This thing, and I think one of the things that's really important to know is she never went anywhere. The deep feminine veils and reveals herself. This is how she works, right? So when in the book and when we're recovering some of these practices and these sensibilities, I think it's important to know that there is an interrupted lineage. Like there are things that we haven't been taught and that there's been an interrupted lineage, but it's intact, right? It doesn't mean that it's not intact. It's still here. It's actually inside of us. It's around us. It's with us. We're remembering it together. And so, you know, in the book, you know, the editors, they helped me really make it accessible, I think. And what it's bringing though is it's a reuniting with these deep things that we need. Like we need to know how to recover ourselves after a sexual experience. And there are art forms to that. There are ways to do that. And so that's what the book brings, is these, you know, that's what I think a lot of what has defined my path from need, right?
Yeah.
From desperate need.
Oh my God. I love you. Do you realize
Yeah.
how important this is? Listen,
Yeah.
Okay, so coming from, I just got to take a step back because this is coming to me here. Coming from a very confused sexual youth.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put this.
Yeah.
I was confused as hell. I thought sex meant love, okay? Because when you come from any kind of trauma, that's what you do believe. You believe sex is love.
Yeah.
It is just women. Men aren't actually, men are a little bit different on this vibe. So, but really when you have an intimate experience with somebody, learning the art of how to get through that. I mean, it's an art. I'd like to know more about this art because I have literally I'm cut myself off. Like I am I'm so single.
So single.
So single. Doggy. I mean, I have my doggies actually. I mean, like seriously, I have, you know, I have grown sons, but and I have my babies, you know, and I love that.
Yeah.
But I am not even willing to venture in to one more adventure a couple years ago, and I'll tell you why. Because a couple of years ago, I thought, I don't know, I had like an experience for a minute that was in another state. And I knew damn good and well going in, Jumana, there was no way that this was even going to happen. And I knew that it was not based on anything but physical attraction because there wasn't enough time. But I was talking to, this was a very etheric person, very tapped in, right? So it was sort of on a very 5D level kind of thing. So it was a trippy experience. But that sex thing, I'm going to promise you guys, if you don't know this already, I'm telling you, and I know you do, it messes with your head afterwards, right? It's like, it becomes part of you. And I think that, well, actually, I don't think I'm going to be quiet and let you take it over about the art of what this looks like and why everybody needs to buy your book.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to it. I think that, you know, in a way, part of it is just recognizing, just naming that everything that we're taught about from the overculture about sexuality is from an orphaned culture. You know, none of it is going to touch what we know we're actually capable of and what's actually happening. And I think that that's the first step, is just to actually acknowledge that there is power here and that there is, that when you meet someone sexually, whether or not that you kind of won't be able to help it unless you're kind of really cut off and or not, you know, and even so, I'm not 100% convinced. If someone enters you, if you really take someone in, they are going to touch all the levels of you, you know, and that there is the art to that, right, has partly to do with discernment, right? Partly has a lot to do with stewarding our own sexual fire, meaning the full spectrum of it, like not just having sex, but the way that we are full sexual, creative, generative creatures. And that's what we draw on for life, you know, to really steward that. And then the art is also, you know, because I keep thinking to tell you, so the school is closed, but I have something called the Sovereign Sexuality Membership, and that's ongoing. And that's all focused on sexuality and all sorts of topics. That's on JumanaSophia.com. But that is a way for people to, it's an ongoing monthly membership. It's myself and multiple of the mentors, and we go through all sorts of different topics related to this, exactly what we're talking about. But, you know, I think that what I've been noticing, especially in that, because we've been traveling with about 100 women there, it's like there's, and I hear it in you too, there's a place where you get to where you're like, it's like the need to be so discerning because you really don't want to go there again and you don't want to fuck up again. Like you want to vet whoever's in front of you, you want to vet them so well so that you know that.
Dude, right? Yeah.
But then there's and there's the part of you that really does need to go there. There's sacred need there. Like, I'm sure that's part of what drew you to that exchange was like, well, but he's meeting me. I'm being met here. I'm feeling this part of me. And there's sacred need there, right? So I think that there's a balance of, you know, the discernment, cultivating containment, cultivating these things, and then cultivating the knowing that it's okay to go forward because you'll know what to do if it doesn't work out. You'll know what to do if there's some reveal that just shakes your whole world up. Like, you'll know what to do if you open and you flower open and then all of a sudden they're not there. Like, because that's, I think, a lot of what, because then we have more courage going into it. It's like, you know, now after many years now and, you know, even 3 years ago, part of my collapse was because of a relationship. It was a heartbreak and it was a severe one. And so and it was a reignition of everything I'd ever had, you know?
Yeah.
These are serious things. That's what I want to say. Is that, like,
really are.
They touch life and death inside of us. There is a way that sexuality will touch life and death. And that is why it's not to be held in a casual way. But we also need to feel like, and we need to know that, and we can explore. Like, we have what we need. And so, you know, for me, that's been there are many different things. It's the practices, it's all these things, but there are ways now that I know that if I run into trouble, I know what to do. And that allows me to actually be more discerning and to actually open. And that way my need for opening isn't coming out sideways.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm just like, I need it, you know? Yeah, so when I talk about sovereign sexuality, it's very much about full residency in our sexuality and a sense of sovereignty over and within what is going to transpire when we open ourselves intimately to someone else, which is going to be power, and it's going to move us, and we need to know that we can roll with that. We were made for it, you know. I think that's, yeah.
But I'm loving this. What happens in my experience, and I can only go from that, is that there, like I mentioned, there was a lot of confusion around sex, and then through years of, well, first therapy and traditional therapy, and then moving deeper into this last 5 years. This last 5 years has really been a breaking open point. But to understand our sexuality is such an important thing. And if you're like me, I was not taught anything from my mother. She handed me a book. She handed me 4 books. Here you go. And I'm like, this library of body parts, you know. I,
Yeah.
I tell a story about how she had read that it was the proper thing to tell the, you know, the proper words for our body parts. And I guess I was like 3 or 4. And so I asked the neighbor, so do you have a vagina? You know, does everybody have one? And I would just ask like men and women, you know, going around. I think I was confused from the get. And but you had a, you know, the sexual trauma in there, and this is why I keep bringing back this, because I know there's people out there who've experienced trauma with sexual experiences somewhere along the line, even those that weren't warranted if you were young. And what I'm here to say is that through my journey, I know that discovering who you are as a sexual being, and this is where our passion is, I believe, and Jumana, you can let me know if I'm on point here. I believe our passion is our spark. I believe that's where our creativity lies. I believe that I have a carnelian stone because I really want to tap into that fire, that passion, that essence. Our sexuality is our creativity. That's part of what helps us to expand as creative humans, you know, not just women, you know. So what do you think about passion and that tap into our sexuality?
Oh, well, I think that's beautifully said. And, you know, just I've been in a deeper study recently with my own Taoist teacher, and, you know, without getting too far into that, the understanding from a Taoist perspective is that your sexuality actually, your Jing, that essence in you actually contains the blueprint of our destiny, right?
Oh.
And it's so when you're cultivating your sexual energy, you're cultivating your destiny, the specificity of your destiny. And, you know, I think that what's tricky is that we have been so conditioned to put sexuality into a tiny little box that basically looks like explicit having sex.
Yeah,
But what
yeah.
it is a huge spectrum of what it is to, and it goes dormant and it ebbs and it flows there. It's just, you know, it's a living current in us. And it's, if we open to it, it will inform everything. And, you know, I know that the show is so much about gratitude, and I was thinking about gratitude before I got on this morning. And, you know, I would say this applies to everyone. I can speak personally to the female capacity to receive and to be penetrated and then to yield a nectar, right? And there's a way that, like, that love making, that is gratitude in motion, right? It's like we can have, like, I know the difference between when I'm like listing off my gratitudes and it's like helping me get through the day versus when I am like
Immersed in it.
actually like so grateful and there's something being elicited from me. That is a lovemaking. That's sexuality right there. That it doesn't have to have anybody else involved. It doesn't have to look orgasmic. It's like that is us opening and our soul coming to the surface. And that is what sexuality is. And that's what we're wanting, you know, in presence with another. So I think that, I think it's really true that passion, sexuality holds our destiny, and it holds both the blueprint of it and it holds the energy for it, you know.
That's extraordinary. I am loving this so much because that it went even deeper than just the creativity, but our destiny, our blueprint. Did you guys hear that? That's deep. That's
it's
actually
powerful.
it's so powerful. In fact, very, very nice, Carla. This is powerful. Many triggers, right?
Yeah.
So does anyone have any questions for Jumana? We're coming up on the hour. So if you could please just go ahead and put your questions in. I'd like to know if there's any. And then I want to have you back again because I actually want to read your book. I want to take a deeper dive with you and really get into so I really just want to have you on all the time, actually.
I love it. This is really fun.
I mean, you're awesome. Okay. And so the name of your book one more time. I apologize.
It's okay. It's Break the Grip of Past Lovers.
Break the grip of
Break the grip of past lovers. Yeah.
Grip, guys. Break that grip.
Yeah.
We're gonna I'm gonna put this up right now so everyone can see this.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the links to Break the Grip of Past Lovers into the comment section. If you notice up in the description of this show, the links for Jumana's mystery school as well as her website are there. Now, you had a special offer for everybody that we will be putting into. I will put a link in later. If anybody watching right now wants the link right away, then just say message me. And on Spirituality Gone Wild, and I will make sure you get it right away. So tell them about what they're going to get.
Well, I am going to. It's called the Woman Incarnate Meditation. So it's basically I created it to distill a lot of the principles of her mystery school into a very simple attunement, right? To get a sense of that, and it's you could think of it as just an invitation into homecoming and a magnetic, deep feminine presence and a return home. So that's what it is, the Woman Incarnate Meditation. It'll give you a sense of the school. It'll give you a sense of me. And it'll also just be, it will guide you here to whatever's happening here, deeper in.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So,
and resourced. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. I am excited about that. I love meditations, and I actually appreciate the fact that you have studied so many different facets of what we call spirituality. I remember my son saying, "But Mom, I'm agnostic. I'm not spiritual." I said, "Yep, yeah, that's all of it. Belief system, belief systems." Well, I don't know if you've heard, spirituality's gone wild, and
it's untamed.
It's untamed.
Yeah.
That's why it's Spirituality Gone Wild. And we have a new membership, as a matter of fact. That's Spirituality Gone Wild Untamed membership, where we have all kinds of great stuff going on on the back end. Fun experiences where we get great people like you, but behind the scenes, where they get to actually where they can interact and have workshops and fun stuff, because that's what we're all about. It's really a DIY. So you kind of get in and smorgasbord. What do I want? What do I feel like digesting right now? And what I love about doing this is that I've had this great opportunity over the past 3 years to interview a lot of super cool people doing fabulous work. You're one of our amazing people that come on, and I just go, yeah, right on. Let's go. Because you're just so incredible. Of course, then again, everybody coming forward from this G Fest, this Goddess Fest, and I want to bring that up really quickly before that we're done here. All of an extraordinary event called the G Fest, and we will on Saturday morning. We will be Saturday morning at 10 a.m. We will be live on Spirituality Gone Wild and several others, including the G Fest Collective. So ladies, if you're not part of the group, the G Fest Collective, go ahead and look that up on Facebook, and come and join us. I mean, I'm excited about this. Tell me what you're excited about the G Fest.
Well, what am I excited about? It's changed a little bit. I'm excited. Yeah. So what am I doing? I'm going to be on a panel with a few other women, and we're going to be talking about kind of, I guess, the feminine rising. But what I'm bringing forward mostly is also really looking at the priestess path and reciprocity with the one that we serve. So, I mean, I'm excited about that because I love that so much. But I'm excited about the way that they have brought the caliber, the intention with which they've brought this collective of women together. There's, it feels very full spectrum. Like they are, it's holding it's holding what's emerging right now in the present moment, what's emerging in the world, and it's touching onto the ancient. And I think that is right. That's right where we need to be. I think they've done an amazing job of that. Yeah, and I'm excited. Most of the women who are coming forward for G-Fest, I haven't met yet. So I'm getting to meet some amazing new women. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the coolest, right? I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
I've got to meet you now, and I'm just stoked about this, and I can't wait to have you back.
Same.
Oh, you're just brilliant. I love what you do. I love the work you do. Oh, this is awesome. Thank you, Paul. I love watching your expansion.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul. Thank you. And the link to the meditation, Kim, I'll get it to you, sweetheart. Kim, message me, honey. I'll get you that link. Okay, sweetheart. Be patient with me. Okay, guys. You know, it might take me a couple hours. So just, that kind of thing. The G-Fest is this G-Fest has changed, which is why I'm a little bit discombobulated with it. But we're getting it together, guys. And the only thing that is just remembering exactly what it is that we're doing, because our big event is in January. That's when we're going to have a blowout, incredible event that's going to blow your minds, ladies. Yes, indeed. But for this weekend, it is free. So go to the Goddess Collective or hit me up on Spirituality Gone Wild, and I will send you a link on how that you can get into the actual conference room with us. Because after that we go live and after all of the presentations, we're going to have an after party that is our honey hive. And we're going to be rocking and rolling in there, having some music, because we just are going to, that's what we're going to do. That's why. So, and I just saw this cute. This is adorable. Lloyd, you're just too cute.
Gosh, I've had a lot of those. Well, you just keep doing that.
Well, here's some more, but it's like that's really a interesting way to look at that blushing.
It is.
I've never thought of it like that before, Lloyd. Thank you.
I know. Now I'm blushing even more.
Now she's blushing again. Lloyd is the bringer of the silent orgasm, the blusher. Oh, look at this. This is great. You're so welcome. Absolutely. Kim, I'll send you the link to come this weekend. Ladies, please message me or message Spirituality Gone Wild. I'll get you the link to the G-Fest. Plus, you can just look up Goddess Fest and you'll see it right online. Yes, Lloyd, success. He's just, all right. Lloyd can go forward on his day now. He's been successful. Before that I end today, I do want to do a quick little promo for Spirituality Gone Wild. Actually, hold tight. Wait, before I can't do that. I have to talk about the BIPOC panel that's going to be on Sunday, which is right here. This is part of the G-Fest. This will also be live. A very important panel, you guys. Very, very, very important. Please ignore the date on there because, well, no, the date's correct, but it is the 18th. You know, I'm just muddling that all up. Just be there, okay? Just be Spirituality Gone Wild. Just be here or on Unify or wherever the thing is, Okay, spiritualitygonewild.com. I mentioned that we have our membership. You guys are killing me. Oh, my God. Okay, so... Kim, I know Kim, right? Well, no. Now, wait a minute, Kim. If it's been that long since an orgasm, we're going to have another private conversation with Jumana. Because look, just because we're single doesn't mean that we shouldn't be experiencing orgasms. Okay, whole other show, whole other topic.
That is a whole other show.
Yeah. Yonis. Okay. Spirituality Gone Wild. Without further ado, I'm going to play just a little snippet. And I'll put up our website really quick. Here we go. If you've been watching me for a while, you know how excited I am about this. And if you use the code UNIFY, you get a percentage off for a lifetime. It's only $22 in the first place because we want everybody to be able to join. Plus, I give angel memberships as well. I don't want anyone left out ever. So the last time,
I love that.
yeah, last time I got knocked out of the studio, you guys didn't notice. Thank goodness. This time I kind of snuck back in. And it is spiritualitygonewild.com. Y'all can remember that. I didn't put it up because I got knocked out of the studio. Really, I want you to go to JumanaSophia.com and you can join her membership and get deeper into your self-love journey and discovering who you are within your femininity and masculinity and divinity and all of those things that come into play. Hermysteryschool.com. If you guys missed any portion of this, please go back and do watch the replay. It has been an absolute joy to have you today, Jumana. I can't thank you enough.
It's been really wonderful. Thank you, Debbie. I look forward to coming back. Yeah.
I can't wait. So who are you grateful for today? That's my last question.
Oh, Debbie, I'm actually grateful for you. I feel really, it's just the whole way you've been with me through this entire interview. I just feel filled up. I feel seen. I feel appreciated. And yeah, actually, in this very moment, I'm very grateful for you.
Oh, gosh.
You're radiant. You're beautiful. And yeah.
Thank you. That's very, very sweet. And honestly, in reverse, I am grateful for you. And the reason for me is just your authenticity and you're real. And you're absolutely stunning and beautiful, but also for the fact that you're willing to come forward and show us that there's a different way to do this. And to hold a safe, sacred space like you've created is something that is powerful, unique, and extraordinary. So I thank you. And Foxy thanks you too.
Thanks, Foxy.
You think you like her energy? Yeah. So she's a healing puppy. And whenever I have somebody on that has, okay, baby, whenever I have somebody, okay, you want to say hi? Okay, baby. Whenever I have somebody on that she really she likes the energy, she wants to come up and be part of the show. You want to be part of everything. I know you do, baby.
Oh, she's beautiful. Look at her.
You're the pretty girl. Yeah, I know. I love you. I love you. Yes, mommy loves you. She's just all right, everybody. Have an extraordinary day. I will see you tomorrow morning at 8:00. And Foxy says goodbye. So long.
Much love.
Peace. Remember, who are you grateful for?